Well, good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Joel Ocasio-Marcano. I'm acting as Director of the Procurement Division for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery and Mitigation Program. In this pre-proposal meeting, we are going to explain the process for the CDBG-DRMIT-RFP-2023-05. Request for proposal for program management services related to the CEWRI HH and CEWRI-DR under housing programs. I would like to introduce our team from PRDOH. Along with me is Lilian Camacho Mojica, Procurement Official, José Colón Rivera, Procurement Specialist, Glorian Rodriguez Ortiz from the Division of Energy and Environmental Compliance, and Carolina Fernandez from the Federal Compliance Division. Any questions submitted in this meeting will be answered in writing and will be published in an addendum. Any information provided in this meeting does not change the terms or conditions established in the request for proposals instructions. All procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual for the CDBG program, the CDBG-DR program, to guarantee full and open competition and fair treatment of all persons or entities involved in each procurement process. The procurement manual is available at our webpage and is incorporated by reference and made an integral part of this RFP. As I said, nothing that will be spoken in this previous meeting would change any of the terms of the RFP, except those conditions written in an amendment to the solicitation issued through an addendum. Now I'm going to leave you with Glorian Rodriguez, that she will explain the scope of services for this service.
Good morning to everybody. I will be sharing my screen for the presentation. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is the presentation, CDBG-MIT, Community Energy and Water Resilience Installation, also known as the CEWRI program. This is the request for a proposal, CDBG-MIT-RFP-2023-05. Program management services related to CEWRI HH and CEWRI-DR. Today is September 5th, 2023. This presentation is for informational purposes only. This presentation does not modify any of the terms, conditions, and requirements set forth in the RFP. Today's agenda, we will see the overview, the program's description for CEWRI HH or HH, program's implementation, program's workflow, program management roles, program management tasks, and for CEWRI-DR program's implementation, program's workflow, program management roles, program management tasks. The overview is PRDOH is issuing this report, this request for proposal RFP to procure program management firms that will assist the PRDOH in the implementation of the following programs. Under the grant of Community Development Block Grant for Mitigation, CDBG-MIT, the program is the Community Energy and Water Resilience Installation Program, CEWRI, which has sub-programs, Home Energy Resilience Improvement Program, CEWRI-HERI, and Incentive Program, CEWRI-IP. The notes, the combination of these sub-program is collectively referred to as CEWRI-HH and CEWRI-HH sub-program. Also under the grant Community Development Block Grant for Disaster Recovery, CDBG-DR, We have the program of Community Energy and Water Resilience Installation Program, also as CEWRI, and there is no sub-programs under this grant. The program's description for CDBG-DR CEWRI program. This program will provide homeowners with funds for the installation of photovoltaic system, PVS, with battery backup for critical loads. The purchase and installation of PVs are specifically for single-family homes that have received assistance under the R3 program. For CDBG-MIT, CEWRI-HH sub-programs, CEWRI-HERI, this sub-program provides funds for the installation of photovoltaic systems and/or battery storage systems for households that own a single-family structure as their primary residence. Eligible participants will be able to receive an incentive for the installation of photovoltaic systems with battery storage backup or battery storage system of 100% of the cost, or 30,000, whichever is the lowest. For CEWRI-IP, the sub-program provides funds for the installation of photovoltaic system and/or battery storage system for the households that own a single-family structure as their primary residence. Eligible participants will be able to receive an incentive for the installation of photovoltaic systems with battery storage backup or battery storage system of the 30% of the cost, or 15,000, whichever is the lowest. Participants for these subprograms will result from an open application process. The CEWRI-HH programs implementation. We have the Department of Housing, and under that we have the program managers and the program participants. Under the program participants, we have the approved renewable energy installation companies, also known as REIC. Program implementation through a reservation of funds. Funds are reserved for the installation of an eligible PVS with a BSS or BSSA and existing PVS. So photovoltaic system without battery are not eligible for the program. System installation is the responsibility of the applicant and their selected approved renewable energy installation company. The PRDOH does not enter into an agreement with the REIC for the program. PRDOH executes reserves grant agreement with the eligible applicants. The reserve grant agreement, also known as the RGA, is the contract between an eligible applicant and PRDOH for the reserve of the incentive funds awarded under the program. The reserve grant agreement will include the terms, conditions, obligations, and necessary support documents for the applicant to receive the program's award. CEWRI-HH program workflow. Program rounds. The programs will accept applicants through rounds. Each round will represent an opportunity for interested citizens to apply. The program manager must have sufficient staff to process the expected volume of applicants within the timeframes set in each of the tasks in the scope of work. As you can see, we have different days. There's 120 days max for the tickets distribution and applicants intake. This has its own tasks, which are round opens, tickets distribution, and applicant intake. Then is 90 days max evaluation applications and execution of the reserve grant agreement, the RGA. Here you will do the household eligibility review, the duplication of benefit review, the environmental review, the system eligibility review and award calculation, and award reservation. After that, there will be 12 months max, which is the system installation by the applicant selected rate. This will have the reservation and installation period. And finally, 30 to 45 days max, evaluation of award disbursement claim, system validation, site visit, and administrative closeout. This means the award disbursement claim, the system validation monitoring, and the closeout. CEWRI HH program management firms roles. Key staff. Program manager will be the main point of contact between the PRDOH and its designated representative and the selected proposer. They shall be available on call and assist program status and progress meeting. They shall be located in Puerto Rico. Must have a bachelor's degree for an accredited institution. Must have at least 5 years of experience in federally funded programs, management, or related field. Operations manager will be responsible for the daily field operations and ensure that such daily operations are performed in the most efficient manner. Oversee logistics, standards of performance and procedures. They shall be located in Puerto Rico. Must be licensed professional engineer or registered architects and have deep knowledge in PBS and BSS systems. Must have at least 5 years of experience in program and project program management. Complaints and reconsideration coordinator will be responsible for the coordination of complaints resolution by performing tasks such as investigating the complaints, surveys, interviews, educating the applicants, etc. Must ensure that applicants' complaints are resolved in a timely manner and resolution is documented for the project record. Must have excellent communication skills and at least 5 years of experience working in customer relations. CEWRI HH program management firm's role. Key staff. Environmental manager will lead environmental assignments and supervise support staff assigned for environmental activities. Must be located in Puerto Rico. Must have a bachelor's degree or higher in engineering, environmental sciences, or similar fields, and at least 3 years of experience in tiered environmental reviews for CDBG funded activities. Additional staff. Case managers, monitors, environmental specialists, and historical and archaeological specialists. Okay, the following breakdown of tasks. Task 00, program management and administration. Operational support, program and project management coordination, document control and management, accounting and reporting, and applicant relations and outreach support. Task 01, in-person applicant intake. Aiding citizens require assistance with the submission of an application. The program manager will make staff available to assist. Task 2, eligibility review and incentive award determination. Intake review, applicant eligibility review, duplication of benefits review, project eligibility review, and reserve grant agreement execution. Task 3, environmental review, site-specific Tier 2 ERR, SOI qualified professional, environmental clearance. Task 4, system validation monitoring, incentive disbursement claim review, site visit, and monitoring report. Task 5, administrative closeout. Policies and procedures were followed for program determinations and that all disbursement have been properly completed. Task 6, property historical preservation consultant. SOI qualified professionals will be required to prepare a historic property architectural form that addresses the National Register of Historic Places. Task 7, Appraisal of home market value. Properties located within a floodplain will need to calculate the substantial improvement factor prior to awarding assistance. Task 8, reimbursable expenses. Regional intake centers. 10 regional intake centers all throughout the island for in-person applicant intake, document submission, and any other matter related to applicants. Others, applicant relations and communications, reconsiderations, document control and management, and accounting of funds. CEWRI-DR program implementation. We have PRDOH, and under that we have in parallel the program participants, the program manager, and acquisition and installation services installers. Under the CEWRI program, energy and water resilience efforts may involve installing photovoltaic system and battery storage for critical loads, including medical and health needs and water storage system. Eligible applicants will be connected via phone or email by CEWRI program to provide orientation on the application process. PRDOH outsourced the acquisition and installation services installers to be responsible for the coordination, assessment, supply, and installation of the photovoltaic system with the battery backup for critical loads and water storage system, including their related appurtenances. CEWRI-DR program workflow. The application process is the CEWRI program is intended to work with the complement the existing CDBG-DR R3 program. Homeowners receiving assistance and who have received a notice of award under the R3 program may be eligible to receive services under the CEWRI program. The program manager must have sufficient staff to process the expected volume of applicants within the timeframe set in each of the tasks and the scope of work. The case referred from R3 will follow into the intake and application eligibility. Then there will be the property eligibility pre-installation assessment. Next will be the environmental and design. Subsequently, there will be the award and notice to proceed. Then the installation and CX. Then inspection and final closeout. The CEWRI-DR program management firm's roles. Key staff, program manager, will be the main point of contact between the PRDOH or its designated representative and the selected proposer. They shall be available on call and assist program status and progress meetings. They shall be located in Puerto Rico, must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution, must have at least 5 years of experience in federally funded programs management or related field. There'll be the operation manager, will be the responsible for the daily field operations and ensuring that such daily operations are performed the most efficient manner. Oversee logistics, standards of performance and procedure. They shall be located in Puerto Rico, must be licensed professional. Will be responsible for the coordination of complaints resolution by performing tasks such as investigating the complaints, survey interviewers, educating the applicants, etc. Must ensure that applicants' complaints are resolved in a timely manner and resolutions documented for the project record. Must have excellent communication skills, at least 5 years of experience working in customer relations. Safety officer, responsible for developing, monitoring, and implementing health and safety policies, shall conduct spot inspections and at projects to identify potential hazards. Must have at the least an OSHA 30-hour training certification in the construction industry and at least 3 years of experience working as a safety officer in construction projects. Environmental manager will lead the environmental assignments and supervise support staff assigned for environmental activities. Must be located in Puerto Rico, must have a bachelor's degree or higher in engineer, environmental sciences, or similar field, at least 3 years of experience in tiered environmental reviews or CDBG funded activities. Additional staff, case managers, inspectors, environmental specialists, historical and archaeological specialists. For the CEWRI-DR program management tasks, here we have the following. Task 00, general program management and administration, operational support, program and project management coordination, document control and management, accounting and reporting, and applicant relations and outreach support. Task 1, complete applications and pre-installation assessment. This means the intake review, application eligibility review, duplication of benefits review, project eligibility review. Task 2, scope of work review and program award. Project design review, award visit, grant agreement execution, notice of proceed. Task 3, final inspection, payment request, and closeout. Coordination of final inspections, report on final inspection, review of final report, and payment request closeout. Task 4, environmental review, site-specific Tier 2 ERR, SOI qualified professional, environmental clearance. Others, applicants' relation and communication, reconsideration, document control and management, and accounting of funds. All questions, please submit in writing per RFP instructions.
Thank you, Glorian. Good morning, my name is Leslie Camacho, and I will be explaining the details regarding the important dates, the submission of inquiries, and the issuance of addenda. The RFP documents are available for download at the CDBG-DR website, and the important dates for this RFP are as follows. The submissions of questions and requests for clarification are due on or before September 15, 2023. The responses to the questions and requests of clarification submitted will due September 22, 2023, and the proposal's due date will due from September 27 at 9 a.m. AST on or before September 29, 2023 at 4 p.m. AST. Each of the prospective proposers shall submit all questions in writing on or before September 15, 2023 to the CDBG-DR mailing address. The responses to all proposers' questions will be answered by an addenda and will be posted on the CDBG-DR website. All the procurement documents pertaining to this procurement process, included addenda, if any, issued by the PRDOH, are and will be available for download at the CDBG-DR website. The prospective proposers must monitor the CDBG-DR website to retrieve the addenda, if any, issue for this RFP. Now I will let you with Jose Colon, which will be explaining a little bit more details regarding this RFP.
Good morning. Thank you, Leslie. Now I'm going to talk about the evaluation criteria. The evaluation committee will evaluate proposals in accordance with the criteria listed below. The criteria below are listed in order of importance. Professional qualifications and experience of the proposer to successfully perform the services required in the RFP, as evidenced by the successful implementation of relevant services of similar scope and complexity, preferably in large complex public organizations like state government and municipalities. Please see section 7.1, point 2, and point 3. Professional qualifications and specialized experience of the proposed key staff as evidenced by relevant experience to the role proposed. Please section 7.4. Quality of the proposed approach and its relevance to the services described in this RFP, including implementation, schedule, and understanding of the PRDOH goals. Please see section 7.5. Capacity of the key personnel and the ability to commit adequate time to effectively perform the services in the role assigned within the required time frame. Financial stability of the proposer and its capacity to effectively perform the services. The proposer and the first-tier subcontractor must be registered in the System of Award Management, SAM, at the time of the proposal submission or initiate the registration process right after the bid submission. For more information about the System for Award Management, go to the SAM webpage. There is no registration fee to create or renew, update your organization information on SAM. Awards will only be issued to entities that are cleared and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or HOT imposed limited denial of participation. Now we have a presentation from Carolina Fernandez for an introduction to Section 3 and MWBE business. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the space to present compliance and labor standards requirements. This presentation is prepared in English. However, should anyone need this presentation in Spanish, you can request using the protocols for this RFP. I am representing the Department of Housing Federal Compliance team led by Maria del Carmen Figueroa. Today, we will discuss as part of our agenda an overview of compliance roles and responsibilities. We will also cover some tools that are available online. We will also talk about documenting efforts, taking advantage of training that's made available, and reporting requirements as well as frequently asked questions. In this presentation, we will be discussing Section 3 training, hiring, and contracting opportunities, minority and women-owned business participation, and fair housing and equal opportunity. Contractors or subrecipients using CDBG-DR or CDBG-MIT funding have certain roles and responsibilities. These include assigning staff who will attend the day-to-day implementation of federal compliance requirements, attending trainings and workshops, using tools and templates, executing the activities, and completing documentation that's required. You can also participate in Department of Housing sponsored technical assistance sessions. You must complete quarterly reporting and comply with the reporting requirements.
The procurement package contains language that offers contractors the ability to seek a preference. Please remember to use the references and templates that are made available and that we will be discussing in this presentation. Proposers seeking preference should provide their self-certifications and sufficient evidence for how they qualify as a Section 3 business. The Department of Housing offers a template on the website. Proposers seeking MWBE Preference should provide a copy of their certification and evidence of their status. The certificates provided should show the dates and indicate that they are currently active.
The procurement package contains sections that speak to the applicability and the requirements for MWBE. Within those sections, you will find helpful links to online resources that are made available, such as the policy guide. Let's talk about Section 3. Section 3 is a federal requirement from the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. This requirement states that we should provide, to the greatest extent feasible, job training, employment, contracting, and other economic opportunities generated by this HUD financial assistance to be directed to low and very low income persons and businesses. The Department of Housing makes available a Section 3 policy guide on their website, both in English and in Spanish. Contractors must read and implement activities as applicable and necessary. They also are responsible for their subcontractors assuring that benchmarks are met. For Section 3 projects, 24 CFR 75 has established the following benchmarks. 25% of the total labor hours for a project should be work hours of Section 3 workers. And from that 25%, 5% of the total labor hours should be work hours of targeted Section 3 workers. Let's talk about the definition of a Section 3 business. A Section 3 business refers to a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria, which is documented within the last 6 months. The business is at least 51% owned and controlled by low or very low income persons. It could also be a business that has at least 51% ownership and controlled by a public housing resident or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. It could also be a business that has over 75% of the labor hours performed for that business over the prior 3-month period by Section 3 workers. In this slide, we're going to look at the definition of a Section 3 worker. A Section 3 worker can be any worker who fits or, when hired within the last 5 years, fit at least one of the following categories. The worker's income for the previous or annualized calendar year is below the income limit established by HUD. It could also be a worker who is employed by a Section 3 business concern. Or the worker is a youth build participant. Now let's talk about what a targeted Section 3 worker is. A Section 3 targeted worker for community development financial assistance projects is a person who is employed by a Section 3 business. It could also be a person who currently fits or, when hired, fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. Someone living within the service area or the neighborhood of the project as defined in 24 CFR 75.5, or a youth build participant. The neighborhood or service area for a targeted Section 3 worker is that in which you can find at least 5,000 persons within a 1-mile radius of the project. If there are less than 5,000 persons within that 1-mile radius, you can expand that radius until you have 5,000 persons around the Section 3 covered project site. Each year, HUD releases new income limits. These income limits typically come out around April. The latest income limits for 2022 are made available on the slide. The Department of Housing has created various forms for helping maintain compliance. There is a Section 3 plan that can be used by contractors or subrecipients. There are also Section 3 self-certification forms. And finally, there is a form to help you document your efforts. Let's take a closer look at your Section 3 plan. This document helps you identify new hiring needs, subcontracting needs. It helps you plan your outreach efforts and assists your coordinators in identifying the day-to-day activities. It helps you define compliant procedures and it helps you understand your reporting requirements. You can use the link on the slide to visit the website and download a Section 3 plan template. In this slide, we want to focus on the Section 3 self-certification forms. These useful tools help you uncover if workers or subcontracting businesses meet the income thresholds required. HUD offers also a business registry. This registry allows you to register yourself as a Section 3 business. The registry also has a tool that helps serve folks looking for Section 3 business databases. We will now turn our attention to minority and women-owned business compliance. There are various regulations that call for the inclusion of minorities and women business enterprises. 2 CFR 200.321, as well as Executive Orders 11625, 12138, and 12432 establish the participation of MWBE firms, which seek to ensure that when possible, contracts and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with federal housing and community development assistance are directed to minority business enterprises and women business enterprises. The Department of Housing has established an MWBE policy guide. This is available on the website in both English and Spanish. You can access those documents using the link on the slide. Let's look at what a minority business enterprise is. An MBE is defined as a business which is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled on a daily basis by one or more American citizens of the following ethnic minority and/or gender and/or military veteran classifications: African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, Hasidic Jew, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic disadvantage. Women business enterprises, or WBEs, are businesses that are at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women. The owners must be U.S. citizens or legal resident aliens whose business formation and principal place of business are here in the U.S. or its territories, and whose management and daily operation is controlled by women. The MWBE policy guide will identify that there are goals which apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. There is a total of 20% minimum participation goal. This 20% is comprised of 10% for women-owned businesses and 10% for minority-owned businesses. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities of $10,000 or more during the life of the contract. The Department of Housing has also created various forms for helping maintain compliance with MWBE. One of those is the MWBE Utilization Plan. This document template allows contractors or subrecipients to identify how they plan on being in compliance with these contracting goals. There is also a waiver form. This document allows contractors or subrecipients to identify if they meet the requirements to waive their goals for MWBE. Let's look at the MWBE Utilization Plan. This tool helps you compile data for your subcontracting. It helps you identify what needs you may have. It helps hold discussions on creating supplier and contractor listings, and it provides awareness of meeting the goal for the contract and tracking. You can use the link on the slide to go to the website and download the plan template. Let's review how you should complete your MWBE Utilization Plan. The Department of Housing Utilization Plan template can be used throughout the life cycle of your contract. Completing the plan is pretty easy. You should read the general instructions in row 3 and complete sections A, B, and F from the document. Complete the information requested in the yellow cells. When we talk about certified minority or women-owned businesses, we are referring to those who have filed applications with federal entities such as SBA and others that you see here on the slide. Businesses who are certified can provide proof of completing an application process to be officially recognized as a certified minority or women-owned business. If you are registered as an MWBE, you should provide your valid certificate or other evidence in response to this RFP. In this section, we will be discussing how to complete your efforts and quarterly reporting. In order for you to report your efforts, the Department of Housing provides a tool. This tool helps you document and identify how often you are seeking interactions with Section 3 businesses and MWBE businesses. The quarterly reporting form allows for you to share and report your data with the Department of Housing. This allows the agency to fulfill oversight responsibilities and monitor the progress throughout the year. The Department of Housing's quarterly reporting form allows for the user to capture multiple compliance areas all in one Excel form. Section 3 data is collected. MWBE data is collected as well. FAQs information is also documented within the report. And finally, for those who have construction projects, there is a report for Davis-Bacon Unfound Workers Efforts Reporting. Awarded contractors will be responsible for reporting 4 times a year, on April 5th, July 5th, October 5th, and January 5th. This ensures that you are meeting benchmarks and documenting your efforts. The quarterly reporting template is also available on the Department of Housing website. Let's briefly discuss FAQs. Your RFP package will also contain a model contract which outlines fair housing and equal opportunity areas of compliance. Contractors are responsible for ensuring compliance with federal civil rights and fair housing through their contractors, subcontractors, and so forth, ensuring that all necessary efforts are being made. The Fair Housing Act and Sections 109 and 504 prohibit discrimination against the following protected classes of people: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, familial status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Act is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There are many executive orders, laws, and statutes that govern the non-discrimination of protected classes to ensure equal opportunity for individuals in accessing federally funded programs. Equal opportunity is afforded to protected classes through a number of these federal laws and executive orders. The Department of Housing has published policy documents attending FAQs as well as Language Access Plan. These policies must be implemented by contractors and subrecipients. They are publicly available online in both English and Spanish. You are encouraged to click on the links and access the resources available. As a recipient of HUD financial assistance, the Department of Housing must ensure that all programs affirmatively further access to fair housing and that the programs provide equal opportunity for participation and employment. Reasonable accommodations are changes made to policies, practices, services, and structures, or modifications to afford equal opportunity to individuals with disabilities. The costs associated with providing reasonable accommodations and modifications are to be incurred by programs receiving federal funding. HUD contemplates these additional costs as necessary to ensure that the programs and activities it funds do not discriminate against people with disabilities. The slide contains a link for you to access the reasonable accommodation page on the Department of Housing website. Limited English proficiency refers to a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. Due to Puerto Rico's high Spanish-speaking population, all entities and contractors using the CDBG-DR funding must seek to ensure that both a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English or Spanish will not place them at a disadvantage in the participation of programs. Let's briefly discuss some common, frequently asked questions. Can a business be both Section 3 and MWBE? The answer is yes. A business or a contractor can be both because these compliance areas are actually separate. Section 3 identifies the level of incomes to determine the status. MWBE uses race and gender information to qualify a business. If I am not planning on subcontracting, do I still need to complete documents? The answer is yes. You should still submit your MWBE utilization plan, the documentation of efforts template, and your quarterly reports. If Section 3 doesn't apply to my contract, do I still have to complete the quarterly report? The answer is yes. You will have to complete the MWBE portion of the report and the portion of the report that attends to FHEO. If I am either an MBE or WBE, do I fulfill the total goals? You may have safe harbor for one of the goals for MWBE participation of 10%, but you will still have an additional 10% goal to show good faith efforts for any subcontracting or purchasing you perform with the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT funding. What happens if I don't fulfill the goals before the end of my contract? All awarded contractors should perform and document their efforts. The Department of Housing has developed templates discussed in this presentation that help you complete the exercise. You can submit a waiver before the end of your contract for approval. This waiver request should be submitted with the efforts and justification as appropriate.
Well, this is the end of this pre-proposal meeting. Thank you for being here and attend to this meeting to provide services for the CEWRI HH and CEWRI-DR programs. Please remember the due dates that you have in the documents of the RFP. Any further questions, please, you can send it by email to our CDBG-DR procurement email. And that will be all for today. Thank you very much and have a good day.